Poštovani gledalci, za Radio Svitanje imamo nesvakidašnji gost. Mark Sandoval, doktor, misionar, jevanđelista, sve to zajedno. Pokušat ćemo da vidimo kako to funkcioniše u životu ovog čoveka i kakve iskustva i poruke ima da podeli sa nama.
My name is Mark Sandoval.
Moje ime je Mark Sandoval.
And I am the president and medical director at uchee Institute.
Ja sam predsjednik i medicinski direktor uchee Instituta.
And I'm also the health ministries director of the Gulf States Conference.
I ja sam zadužen za ja sam direktor zdravstvene službe Gulf State konferencije.
And I am a medical doctor.
Ja sam doktor medicine.
And I am double board certified in emergency medicine and lifestyle medicine.
Imam kao to sertifikat ili specijalizacije iz urgentne medicine i medicine stila života.
And I am married.
I oženjen sam.
And I have 6 children.
Imam 6 dece.
And one that we adopted.
I jedno smo usvojili.
And yes, that's a bit of my background.
To je malo moje pozadine.
Vrlo zanimljivo. Možda da nam kažeš najprije o svom životu. Danas si pričao upravo u crkvi. Tvoje iskustvo obraćenja je bilo nešto što je privuklo pažnju svih nas. Možeš li nešto da ponoviš da radi svi ti?
Your experience, your conversion experience is something that draw a lot of attention to us. It was very meaningful. And could you share that for Radio Svitanje?
Sure. I grew up in church.
Odrastao sam u crkvi.
And I had what I would have considered a normal Christian life.
I imao sam što smatram kao neki normalan hrišćanski život.
I would go to church on the weekend.
Išao bi u crkvu vikendom.
And I would do the world during the week.
A u toku nedelje bi radio svetske stvari.
You know, so I was a good boy one day a week.
Bio sam dobar dečak jedan dan u toku nedelje.
But I was involved in all of the things of the world during the week.
A u toku ostatka nedelje ja sam bio uključen u sve neke svetske stvari.
You know, the usual stuff.
Uobičajene stvari. Sport,
TV,
televizija,
movies,
bioskopi,
all of that kind of stuff.
Sve to.
While I was young and growing up,
dok sam bio mlad i odrastao sam,
I developed a number of addictions.
Razvio sam puno ovisnosti.
And while I was going through elementary school,
i kad sam prolazio kroz osnovnu školu,
my parents divorced.
Moji roditelji su se razveli.
And I was at home alone a lot of the time.
I veći vremenski period sam provodio vreme kod kuće.
And so TV and movies kind of kept me occupied.
I televizija i filmovi su me okupirali.
Mm-hmm. I did well in school.
Dobro sam napravio u školi.
Had a lot of friends.
Imao sam dosta prijatelja.
And I did have religious interests.
Imao sam interesovanje za duhovne stvari.
And there were a number of careers that I was interested in.
I bilo je više karijera za koje sam bio zainteresovan.
By the time I was in high school,
dok sam bio u srednjoj školi,
I was deciding between being a pastor.
Razmišljao sam da idem da budem pastor,
or being a doctor.
Ili da budem doktor.
But yet, in the background, I had these addictions that I was suffering with.
A u pozadini imao sam sve te neke ovisnosti s kojima sam se borio.
I
just want to, stop it for a second.
Koliko možemo duboko da idemo u tvoju privatnost? Pominješ ovisnosti. Mi smo imali za Radio Svitanje.
How deep we can go into your past? In our radio we had
imali smo narkomane.
We had drug addicts.
Imali smo ljudi koji su čak završili u zatvoru.
People that end up in a prison.
Zbog raznih kriminalnih dela.
For all different criminal activities.
Nije cilj praviti senzaciju.
It's not an idea to make a sensation out of it.
Nego da ljudima pokažemo zaista šta može Bog da učini.
but just to show people what God can do.
Koliko otvoren možeš da budeš kada govoriš o svojim addictions, svojim
How
ovisnostima?
open you can be when you talk about your addictions.
Well, most of my addictions
Većina mojih zavisnosti
revolved around behavioral addictions.
su bile oblici ponašanja.
So I didn't get involved in a lot of substance abuse.
Nisam koristio te nedozvoljene droge,
Although I know if I would have tried,
ali znam da sam probao.
I would have quickly succumbed to it.
Brzo bi podlegao bi tome, da.
Because I have siblings that have,
Jer imam rođake
and they did.
i oni su to radili, koristili.
Our family has a strong history of addictions.
Naša porodica ima puno problema sa ovisnošću.
And so mine revolved around behavioral addictions.
Moja je bila oko oblika ponašanja.
Pornography, lust, that kind of stuff.
Znači pornografija i
and entertainment.
to neke
Zabava,
da.
You know.
što može biti izuzetno
Right.
atraktivno i da zaista bude
That entertainment he is referring that it can be very attractive.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Ok, hvala ti puno na iskrenosti, možeš li nastaviti priču?
Thank you for your truthfulness. Can you
Koliko si duboko bio u svemu tome?
How deep you were in it?
Po tvom sudu?
In your judgment.
I don't know. I mean, I had. How deep was I into it? I'm not sure exactly the full spectrum. The full spectrum of it, but I had.
Preformulišem pitanje, koliko je to uticalo na tvoj život i kasnije život tvoje porodice?
Just to kind of reformulate the question, how much it impacts you and your family's life?
Well, I was a really good liar.
Ja sam bio dobar lažov.
So I kept a lot of things secret.
I dosta stvari sam držao skriveno.
When I was young,
kad sam bio mlad,
I became involved, especially with the pornography young, with a friend in the neighborhood.
Bio sam uključen sa nekim komšijama u neke pornografske stvari.
And I began to change the way that I related to people.
Počeo sam da menjam način kako sam se odnosio prema ljudima.
And I used to keep a lot of secrets.
Držao sam dosta tajni.
I tell a lot of lies.
Govorio sam dosta laži.
And I began to believe this thought.
I počeo sam da mislim
that I hate myself.
Da mrzim sebe.
And if anybody knows me as well as I know myself,
i kada bi neko znao mene kao što ja sebe znam,
they'll hate me as much as I hate myself.
I oni bi me mrzeli kao što ja sebe mrzim.
So when you believe that,
kada verujete u to,
you never let anyone all the way in.
Nikad ne dozvoljavate nekom da duboko uđu.
You always have secrets.
Uvijek imate tajne.
You always have compartments.
I neke odaje.
And nobody gets all the way in.
I niko ne može skroz da prodre.
Because if they did,
jer kad bi to učinili,
they would reject you.
Oni bi vas odbacili.
And so it did affect every relationship.
To je uticalo na svaki odnos.
And when it came to the relationship with my wife,
I kad je došlo do tačke odnosa s mojim suprugom,
it definitely was problematic.
Bilo je problematično.
And it became problematic several times.
I više puta je bilo problematično.
And it finally came to a crisis point where I was getting so caught up in the addictions.
Došlo je do neke krizne tačke da sam ja bio toliko upleten u sve te ovisnosti.
And so tired of trying to fight against it.
I umoran od toga da se borim protiv toga.
That I really felt like I should just stop fighting.
Da sam došao do tačke da prestanem da se borim.
And just give in to it.
I da se predam.
But I knew that it would hurt my wife and children.
I znao sam da bi to bolilo mene, da bi volao moju decu i mene,
And
i
so
moju suprugu.
I thought it would be best to not be around them
I najbolje bilo da nisam pored njih,
for their sake.
za njihovo dobro.
And so I was thinking of leaving them.
I onda sam razmišljao da ih napustim.
And then began being interested in a secretary at work.
Znači bio zainteresovan za sekretaricu na poslu.
And so I was now on the verge of leaving wife and children.
I sad sam bio na ivici da ostavim ženu i decu.
And my wife found out what was going on, sort of.
I donekle moja supruga saznala o čemu se radi.
And she confronted me with what she knew.
Ona me onako predusrela s onim što videla šta radim.
And I just couldn't feel sorry for anything that I had done.
I ja nisam se osjećao krivim za ono što sam učinio.
Right. For a while I had been at a place where all I could feel was anger or lust.
I već duže vreme sam osjećao u sebi neku ljutnju i žudnju.
Yeah, and the anger was bad too.
I ta ljutnja je bila jaka.
And so the fact that I couldn't feel anything,
Činjenica da nisam ništa mogao da osjetim,
I couldn't feel any remorse,
nikakvu
that kind of scared me.
tugu ili patnju nisam osjećao i to me nije plašilo.
And it scared her too.
A to je moj suprug isto kao i mene za malo zaplašilo.
And so she recommended that we talk with our pastor.
I ona je posavjetovala se da pričamo sa pastorom.
Which I thought was pointless.
I mislim da to nema svrhe.
And she recommended that we go talk to the pastor.
I ona je posavjetovala se, ona mi je dala predlog da idemo kod pastora.
Which I thought was pointless.
Mislim da nema svrhe.
Because we had already tried pastors and other things before.
Jer smo probali već pastore i druge stvari.
Anyways, to make the story shorter,
I da onako skratim priču.
We were put in contact with certain counseling materials.
I mi smo došli do nekih materijala o savjetovanju.
Which we started going through.
Kroz koje smo prolazili.
And some of the stories that were there
neke stvari koje su tamo bile
gave me some hope that maybe it wasn't too late for me.
Su mi dale nadu da nije kasno za mene.
And maybe it wasn't too late for our relationship.
I da nije kasno za naš odnos.
I had wanted to live the Christian life.
Ja sam želeo da živim hrišćanski život.
But never had been able to before.
Ali nikad to nisam uspeo ranije.
And I finally came to the place where I was stuck.
I došao sam do trenutka gdje sam se onako zaglavio.
I didn't have any solutions.
Nisam imao nikakve solucije.
I couldn't lie my way out of this situation.
Iz ove solucije nisam mogao da izlažem.
I couldn't even think of the first way of trying to get out of it.
Čak nisam mogao da se setim ni prvog načina kako da izađem iz ove situacije.
I was just stuck.
Zaglavio sam se.
And in that desperation,
u tom očajničkoj situaciji,
God began to reason with my messed up mind.
Bog je počeo da rezonuje sa mojim poremećenim umom.
And he challenged me to surrender myself to him entirely.
On mi daje jedan izazov da se u potpunosti predam njemu.
And I remember struggling with him.
I sjećam se da sam se dosta borio sa njim.
I wasn't sure that I could trust him.
Nisam bio siguran da mogu da mu verujem.
Right. Because I had always, at least to one degree or another, tried to control things in my own life.
Jer sam uvijek do nekog nivoa želeo da kontrolišem stvari u svom životu.
And to think of giving up complete control.
I da razmišljam o situaciji da kompletno prepustim kontrolu.
Was frightening.
I bilo zastrašujuće.
To nam je poznato, mnogi od nas koji su slični tvom nekom profilu i koji vole kontrolu, imaju tu borbu, a zapravo to je, mislim, opšte mesto kod svakog čovjeka.
I think the struggle with control we all have, but
neko
especially
više, neko manje.
In your case, but some people have it more, some people have it less.
That's true.
U toku ovih predavanja smo čuli zaista malo šokantne stvari o tebe.
In these lectures, we heard some shocking things from you.
Yeah.
Naprimer,
For example,
da je bolje i blaženije proći na vrata gde ćete dati nekom 1000 evra ili dolara, nego na vrata gde ćete dobiti 1000 dolara.
that is more blessed to go through the door where you're going to give 1,000 euros than to go through the door where you're going to receive.
Da je davanje u stvari zdravlje i život, a uzimanje smrt.
That giving is actually a life and taking is a death.
Yeah.
I tako dalje, i tako dalje.
And so on and so on.
Je li to tvoje iskustvo sada posle ovog momenta predavanja?
Is this your experience after the issues you had in the past?
Yes.
Da.
I finally surrendered everything to Christ.
Konačno sam predao sve Hristu.
And he began to put my life back together.
I počeo da vraća moj život na mesto.
And in a very quick time, I
u brzom vremenskom periodu
was out of the addictions.
Izašao sam iz tih zavisnosti.
The relationship with my wife turned around.
Odnos sa mojom ženom se okrenuo.
The anger that I dealt with.
Ljutnja s kojom sam se borio.
Well, that took time.
To je uzelo vremena.
But the Lord and I worked on that.
Gospod i ja smo radili na tome.
And I don't get angry anymore.
I više nisam ljut.
And in the process, God began to teach me and show me many different things.
I u tom procesu Gospod me podučavao i pokazivao mi razne stvari.
And a colleague of mine
jedan moj kolega
came to Uchee Institute in 2014.
2014. godine on je došao u Uchee Institute.
And he presented many of these principles.
I on je predstavio neke od većinu ovih principa.
And I was sitting in the audience listening.
Ja sam sedeo u publici i slušao.
And I was just shocked.
Bio sam šokiran.
Because I thought that I was getting life together.
I mislio sam da već sada nekako život mi ide kako treba.
I thought I understood well the Christian life.
I da sam dobro razumeo hrišćanski život.
And I came to realize
I došao sam do shvatanja
that I had everything backwards.
Da sam sve imao izokrenuto.
Upside down.
Right. Naopačke.
And my understanding of that deception has been growing.
I moje razumevanje te prevare je postalo sve veće.
Over the last 5 years.
U zadnjih 5 godina.
I use the term in English, although it might be a bit harsh in your language, but crazy.
Ja koristim termin na engleskom koji možda je grub za ovo podneblje, ali to se zove lud.
Right. We're deceived.
Prevareni smo.
In my medical career,
u mojoj medicinskoj karijeri,
I've taken care of a lot of individuals that had mental health challenges.
Ja sam se brinuo puno osoba koji su imali mentalne probleme.
They might have schizophrenia.
Koji su imali skizofreniju.
Or some delusional disorder.
Ili neke iluzije.
And they believe.
I oni veruju.
That the government is after them.
Da ih neke državne vlade proganjaju.
Or somebody is controlling them from outside.
I da ih neko spolja kontroliše.
Some of them believe that they were Jesus Christ.
Neki veruju da su Isus Hrist.
Others believe that they were the devil.
Neki veruju da su đavo.
Other types of delusions.
Raznih iluzija.
And I never could talk any of them out of their delusion.
I nikoga nisam mogao da nagovorim da izađu iz toga.
Because every one of them
jer svako od njih
were convinced that their delusion was real.
Su bili osvedočeni da ono u što oni veruju da je to realnost.
And what I have come to realize
I ono što sam shvatio
is that we're all the same way.
Mi smo svi na isti način.
We're all delusional.
Svi smo nekako u tim iluziji.
And we have all been delusional ever since Adam and Eve ate the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
I mi smo u tom stanju još od Adama i Eve kad su oni pojeli plod poznanja dobra i zla.
U nekom paralelnom svetu, hoću da kažem.
Some kind of parallel world.
Well, it was, God told them the truth.
Bog im je rekao istinu.
Where there was everything was right side up.
Znači sve je bilo u redu.
And the devil told them a lie.
I đavo im je rekao laž.
Where everything was upside down.
Sve je izokrenuto.
And when they believed the lie,
kada su verovali laž,
everything in their world turned upside down.
Sve se u njihovom životu u svetu okrenulo.
And they then believed
onda su oni verovali
that what God said was gain,
da ono što kad je Bog rekao da je dobitak,
was actually loss.
Je u stvari gubitak.
And what God said was loss,
a ono što je Bog rekao da je gubitak,
was actually gain.
Je u stvari dobitak.
Right? Because God said if you eat of the tree,
Bog rekao ako jedeš sa drveta,
you'll lose or you'll die.
Ti gubiš ili ćeš umreti.
But if you don't eat it,
ali ako ne jedeš,
you'll gain.
Ti ćeš dobiti.
And Satan said the exact opposite.
A Satan je rekao upravo kontrast.
So when Eve and Adam believed the lie,
kad su Eva i Adam poverovali laž,
everything in their heart turned upside down.
Sve su u srcu njihovom izokrenulo.
And you and I have inherited the same heart from Adam and Eve.
I vi i ja smo usvojili isto srce od Adama i Eve.
So we see everything upside down.
I mi sve vidimo izokrenuto.
Everything backwards.
Sve je nekako naopačke.
And because of that,
I zbog toga,
then certain things that we read in the Bible,
određene stvari koje čitamo u Bibliji,
we begin to realize are true.
Shvatamo da su istinite.
The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked.
Srce je prevrno više svega.
All have sinned and fall short of the glory of God.
Svi su zgrešili.
None have done good, no, not one.
Nijedan nije radio ispravno.
All of our righteousnesses are filthy rags.
Sva naša pravednost je prljava haljina.
Right? The carnal mind is enmity with God, or hatred against God, right? And is not subject to the law of God.
I nije pod uticajem zakona.
Neither indeed can be.
I ne može.
Right. And God gives us a diagnosis.
I Bog nam daje dijagnozu.
In Isaiah 55.
U Isaiji 55. poglavlje.
When he says, my thoughts are not your thoughts.
Kada kaže, moje misli nisu tvoje misli.
Nor are your ways my ways.
Ni tvoji putevi moji putevi.
And there are evidences that we're upside down.
I to postoje dokazi da smo mi izokrenuti.
In order to keep something,
da bi nešto zadržali,
you and I hold on to it.
Vi ja to držimo.
But Jesus said, if you hold on to your life, you lose it.
A Isus kaže, ako čuvaš svoj život, izgubit ćeš ga.
But if you give it away,
ali ako ga daš,
you gain it.
Ti dobiješ.
So he was showing us that the only way you can keep something,
on nam je pokazivao da jedini način da ako hoćeš da zadržiš nešto,
is to give it away.
Da ga daš.
Because the moment you hold on to it,
jer trenutka kada ti to zadržuješ za sebe,
you lose it.
Gubiš.
But it doesn't make sense to us.
Ali nama to nema logike.
Because it's backwards.
Jer je okrenuto, izokrenuto.
If you have people in a room,
ako imate osobu u sobi,
and there's two doors,
ima dvoja vrata,
and you give them the choice of which door to go out,
i ako im date izbor kojim će vratima da idu,
and one door I'm going to pay them 10 euros,
i na jednim vratima ću im platiti 10 evra,
and the other door they're going to pay me 10 euros,
a na drugim vratima oni će meni platiti 10 evra,
they're always going to go out the door
oni će uvijek otići ka vratima
that they receive,
koja će im dati.
But Jesus said,
a Isus je rekao,
it's more blessed to give than to receive.
Puno blaženije davati nego primati.
So Jesus would always go out the door where you give.
Isus bi uvijek išao na vrata gdje ti daješ.
These are all evidences that we're backwards.
To su sve dokaze da je sve...
Shvatamo poentu i, dakle, definitivno moramo da priznamo da smo mi u tom nekom zarobljenom našem imaginarnom svijetu.
We have to be honest that we have been prisoners of this imaginary.
Right.
Sad, pre nego što mi odgovoriš kako to Isus radi, mene zanima kako si ti radio sa pacijentima u tvom
So before you tell me how Jesus did, I would like you, if you can share how you did it in a center with patients.
Koji su mislili da su Hristos, đavo, Bonaparta, šta god.
Who were thinking that they were Christ, Napoleon, or anything else.
Right. In that earlier setting,
U tom ranijem,
the only way we had to help them to see our reality
jedini način da mi pomognemo da oni vide našu realnu stvarnost,
was to give them powerful medication.
da im damo jake lekove.
And under the influence of that medication,
I pod uticajem tih lekova,
they would wake up from that deception
oni bi se probudili iz te prevare
and see the world as we see it.
i vidjeli bi svet kakav mi vidimo.
But the problem is,
Ali problem s tim je,
the world that they woke up to,
svet u kojem su se probudili,
our world,
naš svet,
was a deception too.
je bio prevara isto.
Right? It's just we didn't know it.
Samo što mi to ne znamo.
Right? But they came into our deception,
Ali oni su došli u našu prevaru
and now we thought they were okay.
i sada mislimo da su oni u redu.
Right?
Gore od Matrixa.
Right?
They said it's worse than the Matrix.
Oh yeah.
Dobro.
Uh-huh. And this is a health lecture that I'm doing.
Ovo što radim su zdravstvena predavanja.
And how does this all relate to health?
I kako se ovo sve odnosi na zdravlje?
Well, we were created to think like God thinks.
Mi smo stvoreni da mislimo kako Bog misli.
And when we think like God thinks,
Kada mislimo kako Bog misli,
that provides through the nervous system
to nam daje kroz nervni sistem
the control of all of the cells and tissues of the body,
kontrolu svih ćelija i tkiva u telu,
so that they function the way that they should.
tako da oni funkcionišu na način koji bi trebali.
But when our thinking deviates from God's thinking,
Ali kada naše misli se odvoje od načina kako Bog misli,
then it introduces dysfunction in the body,
onda ono poziva disfunkciju u telu.
and it begins to break down.
I onda se ono
Slamo.
slamo može.
Mm-hmm. And so the mind can be deceived
Znači može biti prevaren
and think that I am thinking well.
i da misli da ja razmišljam dobro,
But the body cannot be deceived
ali telo ne može biti prevareno,
because it's just physical.
jer je samo fizičko.
And something that's physical can't be deceived.
I ono što je fizičko ne može biti prevareno.
You know, I can type on the computer,
Ja mogu da kucam na kompjuteru
you are a fish.
da si ti riba
And the computer will show on the screen, you are a fish.
i kompjuter će pokazati na monitoru ti si riba.
Right? That's a lie,
To je laž,
but the computer's not lying.
ali kompjuter ne laže.
It can't lie.
Ne može laži.
It always tells the truth of what's put into it.
Uvijek kaže i ono što mu se stavi.
So the mind can lie,
Može da laže,
but the body can't.
ali telo ne može.
And so the body reveals
Onda telo otkriva
that there's a lie in the mind.
da postoji laž u umu.
And so when people have disease,
Kada ljudi imaju bolest,
it's a very good incentive
to je jedna vrsta dobre nagrade
to help them to see that they're deceived,
da im pomogne da vidi da su mi prevareni,
and their body is revealing the deception.
a telo otkriva tu prevaru.
Sad imamo ovdje na ovom mjestu jedno vrlo važno pitanje.
At this point I have one question.
Osvjedočeni smo, bar mi koji čitamo Bibliju izvesno vrijeme,
We have been convinced, the ones who read the Bible,
da nije čak ni dovoljno vidjeti da smo prevareni.
it is not enough to see that we are deceived.
Dok čitamo Svetu reč,
When we are reading the Holy Scriptures,
Sveti Duh deluje čak i na one koji ne čitaju.
Holy Spirit impresses the ones who read it and even those who don't read it.
S vremena na vrijeme da vidimo da smo u takvom i takvom stanju.
From time to show us in what state we are.
Yes.
Isto tako smo osvjedočeni da nemamo snage da postupimo prema našem osvjedočenju.
Also we are convinced that we cannot act upon what we have been convinced.
To je tvoje iskustvo, malo
It's your experience from before.
Kako? Šta činiti? Kako?
How? What to do?
Kako postati pobednik? To je bilo tema
victorious.
tvoje teme danas.
One,
Broj 1.
We have to recognize that there is only one source for the things we need.
Mora da znamo da postoji samo jedan izvor za stvari koje su nam potrebne.
I put it in the context of love.
Stavio sam u kontekst ljubavi.
And we need love.
I nama je potrebna ljubav.
And but we must take from the right source.
Ali moramo da uzmemo od pravog izvora.
And so the beginning of the recovery process
I početak oporavljanja
is one,
je jedan,
understanding
razumeti
where I go for the source,
gde ja idem za izvor,
and then going to that source to begin taking the love I need.
I idem ka tom izvoru da uzimam svu ljubav koja mi je potrebna.
And so we must help individuals to realize that God is the source of love.
I moramo da pokažemo ljudima da je Bog izvor ljubavi.
And that He is the one who has what we need.
I da je On taj koji ima sve što nam je potrebno.
And that they have the opportunity to go and take of that love.
I da oni imaju mogućnost da odu i uzmu tu ljubav.
Regardless of where they are.
Bez obzira gde su.
Or what situation they're in.
Ili u kojoj situaciji se nalaze.
Meni je na ovom mestu nešto što mene lično tangira, to je ljutnja, mene su ljutnje. Ja moram priznati da se borim i dalje sa tim od najbanalnijih situacija.
He said that one thing you have mentioned and what I struggle with is anger, you know, even to the most little details.
Dok vozim,
while I'm driving,
u gužvi,
in traffic,
na poslu novinarskom,
at work as a journalist.
To su one situacije u kući, u porodici, jel, deca,
family issues, children,
supruga.
Wife.
Ti si rekao jednu rečenicu koja je meni vrlo indikativna, ja sam pobedio. Yeah.
You said one sentence that said you said that you gained victory.
I to je vrlo sigurno delaš.
And you look very confident.
Naravno da sad očekujem recept, objasnim.
So I just need a recipe for it.
First of all, why does somebody have anger?
Prvo, zašto neko ima ljutnju?
We as humans have anger.
Mi ko ljudi imamo ljutnju.
Because we believe we're God.
Jer verujemo da smo Bog.
And we believe that we should be able to control other things.
I da verujemo da možemo da kontrolišemo druge stvari.
And when we cannot control those other things.
I kad ne možemo da kontrolišemo druge stvari,
we get angry.
Onda se naljutimo.
Right. So when we cannot control other drivers,
kad ne možemo kontrolišemo druge vozače,
when we cannot control time,
kad ne možemo da kontrolišemo vreme,
when we cannot control circumstances,
kad ne možemo da kontrolišemo okolnosti,
or other people,
ili druge ljude,
one of our responses is to get angry.
Jedan od naših odgovora je da budemo ljuti.
Right. So the fundamental solution to anger,
znači osnovna solucija za ljutnju,
is the belief that I am a child of God.
Da verujem da sam ja dete Božje.
I'm not God.
Ja nisam Bog.
And there is nothing outside of myself that I can control.
I da ništa što je van mene ja ne mogu da kontrolišem.
Right. From a human standpoint, all control is here.
Sa ljudske tačke gledišta sva kontrola je u meni.
Not there.
Ne napolju.
Right. And so when I know that,
kada to znam,
when I believe that,
kada verujem to,
then I don't need to control anything around me.
Ja ne moram ništa da kontrolišem oko mene.
I can trust that God is in control.
Ja mogu da verujem da je Bog kontroliše.
He's working it out in His time.
On će izvesti na dobro svoje vreme.
In His way.
Na njegov način.
And I can trust Him with that.
Ja mogu da mu verujem sa tim.
And when I do trust Him with that,
I kada mu verujem sa tim,
what do I have to be angry at?
Zašto ja moram da budem ljut?
Right.
Zvuči tako jednostavno.
It sounds so simple.
Yeah. But the application is not easy.
Ali u praktičnom nije lako.
It's practice over and over again.
Znači to je vežbanje svaki dan.
In my experience,
u mom iskustvu,
I used to get angry just like that.
Ja bi se naljutio ovako.
And so I found what I needed to do was remove myself from the situation.
I ono što sam primetio da meni pomaže da se sklonim iz te situacije.
And go pray.
Onda se pomolim.
Until I was calmed down enough.
Dok se nisam kompletno smirio.
That I could come back into the situation.
Da mogu da se vratim u tu
And
situaciju.
sometimes that took an hour.
Nekad je to uzimali po sat vremena.
And then I could enter back into the situation
I onda mogu da se vratim u tu
and
situaciju.
deal with it without getting angry.
A da ne budem ljut.
But if I got angry again,
Ali ako budem opet ljut,
leave,
odem,
pray,
molim se.
and once I was calmed down,
I opet kad sam završio.
that I can come back and
Šta kažeš u toj molitvi? Šta kažeš Bogu?
What do you say in that prayer?
Well, I would be talking with the Lord
Razgovarao bi sa Bogom.
and asking him to help me to be sensitive
Da mi pomogne da budem osjetljiv.
so that I could see the problem earlier.
Da vidim problem ranije.
Because if I could see it earlier,
Ako mogu da ga vidim ranije,
it'd be easier to cut it off.
bit će mi puno bolje da presečem.
And of course I would apologize to God for getting angry.
Naravno da bi tražio Gospoda da mi oprosti što sam se naljutio.
And asking for his Holy Spirit to help me.
I da pitam njegovog Svetog Duha da mi pomogne.
Right, to be calm and so on.
Da budem smiren i tako dalje.
And there was other aspects, but that was the main part of it.
I drugi aspekti, ali ovo je glavni.
Ovo je sad moment kad još malo nam je ostalo do završetka ovog našeg razgovora. Vi treba da nastavite sa temom, večerašnjom završnom temom, jel, ovoj seriji predavanja. Ti, Alberto, kad kažem vi, u našem svetu, hrišćanskom, čak i adventističkom, priznaćeš da je za mnoge čudno da imaš tako blisku komunikaciju sa Bogom.
It's unusual to have such a close communication with God.
Bog se doživljava kao neko ko je, eto tako, onako deistički Bog.
People see it as a God somewhere else.
Koji je daleko i koji se ne meša puno u naš život, sve drugo moramo mi da dostižemo.
He doesn't interfere so much in our life and then we have to accomplish certain things.
U tvom iskustvu, koliko adventisti i uopšte hrišćani imaju ovakvu bliskost sa Bogom koju ti sad pominješ?
In your experience, how many Christians have such a close walk with God as you have mentioned?
Hodamo sa Bogom, pojavi se problem.
Walking with God, the problem comes up.
Izolujemo se, rešavamo sa Bogom.
We isolate ourselves to resolve issues.
It's unfortunately rare.
Nažalost, to je retko.
You know, Ellen White said in her day,
Ellen White je rekla da u njenim danima,
not 1 in 20,
ne 1 od 20,
and a few times she said not 1 in 100.
Čak ni 1 od 100.
Right. And I don't suspect that it's any better today than it was then.
Ja ne mogu da kažem da je ništa bolje danas.
Unfortunately.
Nažalost.
Je li to ono što te motiviše da radiš i da držiš ovako predavanja?
Is that what motivates you to hold these kind of lectures?
Oh yes.
Da.
Yeah.
Kako ti sebe doživljavaš? Kao misionara, kao pastora, kao doktora? Šta si na prvom mjestu?
How do you see yourself as a missionary, as a pastor, as a doctor?
Ili je to sve zajedno?
Or it's all together?
Sandoval.
In Mark Sandoval.
I'm a gospel medical missionary.
Ja sam jevanđelista, zdravstveni misionar.
Who happens to be a physician.
Koji je, eto, igrom slučaja, doktor.
And one reason that I chose being a doctor,
I jedan razlog sam izabrao da budem doktor,
rather than being a pastor,
nego da budem pastor,
because I figured that I could be a doctor,
jer sam shvatio da ako sam doktor
and do pastoral work,
i radim pastorski posao,
but I couldn't be a pastor,
ali nisam mogao da budem pastor
and do the doctor work.
I da radim doktorski posao.
So.
I kada ti dođe pacijent, šta prvo lečiš, dušu ili telo?
So when the patient comes, what do you trying to heal first, a body or a mind?
We deal with the physical issues first.
Radimo sa fizičkim problemima.
Because that's what they recognize their need to be.
To oni prepoznaju da im je potreba.
And so as we deal with the physical issues,
I kako radimo s njima na fizičkim problemima,
we also explore issues of their relationships.
Onda isto i pokušavamo njihove odnose da rešimo.
And spiritual and emotional challenges that they have faced through their lives.
Znači, duhovne i emocionalne probleme s kojima se oni nose u životu.
And then we start pulling all of the things together.
I onda pokušavamo sve da zvučemo na jedno mesto.
And at our lifestyle center,
U našem zdravstvenom centru.
when I'm there and not in Serbia or other places,
Kad sam tamo, a ne u Srbiji, u drugim mestima.
then this same series I do for the patients.
Ovo isti serijal ja radim za pacijente.
So that by the end of their time at our center,
I na kraju njihovog vremena u centru,
they recognize they're deceived.
oni vide da su prevareni,
They see that God loves them,
vide da ih Bog voli
and that they must come and take all the love they need from Him,
i da oni moraju da dođu i uzmu svu ljubav od njega
and then give that love to others,
i da daju tu ljubav drugima.
to forgive others,
Da oproste drugima,
right? To give up bitterness and so on.
da se odreknu gorčine i tako to.
First of all, how do we understand that God loves us so much?
Kako da razumemo da nas Bog toliko voli?
That is what the Bible is about.
Biblija o tome govori.
Is revealing to us God's amazing love.
Otkriva nam Božju neverovatnu ljubav.
And how that was manifested.
I kako je ona manifestovana.
And we see it most clearly manifested in the life of Jesus.
I najbolje vidimo manifestovanu kroz Isusov život.
Now when I'm dealing with patients,
I kada radim sa pacijentima,
I need to have the love of Jesus myself.
Ja sam moram da imam Isusovu ljubav.
Because as I care for them,
Ja dok se brinem za njih,
as they see that love of Jesus in me,
ako vide Isusovu ljubav u meni,
and that I care for them,
i da se ja brinem za njih,
then their heart's open.
onda je njihovo srce otvoreno.
And they're interested to know why I am the way that I am.
I zainteresuju da vide zašto sam ja takav.
And so I can introduce them to my friend who helped me to be the way that I am.
I onda mogu da ih upoznam sa prijateljem koji meni pomogao da budem takav.
And so I help them to see in their lives the many ways that God has manifested His love.
I onda mogu da im pokažem kako je Bog manifestovao njegovu ljubav u životu.
And I help them to see
I pokušavam da im pokažem da vide
how in the situations that they thought represented God's anger or His hatred,
i u nekim situacijama kad su oni mislili da je nešto predstavljalo Božiju gnjev i ljutnju,
that was only because they were looking at it from the wrong standpoint.
to je samo zato što su oni gledali iz druge tačke gledišta.
And help them to see how to look at it.
I da im pomogne da vide kako su oni sagledavali sve to.
To see God's love through the midst of all of it.
I da vide Božju ljubav kroz sve to.
And when I have the opportunity of having 2.5 weeks with them,
I kad je mogućnost da provedem 2,5 nedelje sa njima,
it's a rare patient
retko je da pacijenti
that doesn't see that picture.
koji ne vide tu sliku.
Right. As far as overcoming,
kad je u pitanju pobeda,
God is always pursuing us.
Znači, Bog uvijek ima neki cilj za nas.
And so God is always working on us.
I on uvijek radi na nama.
To draw us to Himself.
Da nas privuče k njemu.
From our standpoint,
s naše tačke gledišta,
we must cooperate.
Mi moramo da sarađujemo.
Because there are certain things that are our responsibility.
Postoje određene stvari koji su naša odgovornost.
That God will not do for us.
Koje Bog neće učiniti za nas.
Right. And really the key factor
I ključni faktor
between having a knowledge of God
imati znanje o Bogu
and continual failure
i da stalno padate,
but entering into a life of growing victory in Christ.
I znači sad uđete u život gde dobijate pobede sa Hristom.
That is that complete
rastući pobede.
Right. That is that complete surrender to Christ.
To je ta kompletna predaja Hristu.
Where I'm no longer saying, all right, God, I don't want you to touch this.
Gde ja nisam sa Bogom da mu kažem, ne smeš ovo da mi diraš.
Don't take this away from me.
Nemoj ovo da mi oduzimaš.
Don't ask me to do that.
Nemoj da me pitaš za ovo.
No,
Ne.
everything is wiped off the list.
Znači sve se briše sa te liste.
Whatever you want me to do,
Šta god ti želiš ja da činim,
whatever you want me to give up,
šta god želiš da odustanem,
it doesn't matter what it is,
nije bitno šta je,
I will do it.
ja ću to učiniti.
Just save me from this mess.
Spasi me iz ovog problema.
And that surrender
I u toj predaji
is the beginning of a life that then has victory after victory.
to je početak pobjeda u životu.
In that life,
U tom životu
we desire to be with the one we love.
mi čeznemo da budemo sa nekim koga volimo.
And so we spend time in prayer.
I da provodimo vreme u molitvi.
We spend time reading his love letter,
Čitamo njegova pisma ljubavi,
right? The Bible.
Sveto pismo.
We see that he values others just like he valued us.
I on ceni druge kao što ceni nas.
And because he loves them,
Jer on voli njih
we love them too.
i mi njih, kako rekao?
We love them too. Zato što ih on voli i mi ih volimo.
Ja, zato što ih on voli i mi ih volimo.
Right. And so we learn that he is the only source.
Mi vidimo da on jedini izvor.
And we learn by experience how to take from him that we might be full.
I mi učimo iz iskustva kako da uzmemo od njega.
And when we become full,
Da budemo ispunjeni kad smo ispunjeni.
you always give what you took.
Uvek daš što si dobio.
And so we give good things to others.
I onda damo lepe stvari drugima.
And we find our life in Christ
I nalazimo život u Hristu.
from taking from God
Uzimanje od Boga.
and giving to others.
I davati drugima.
Right. And when we mess up,
I kada zabrljamo,
when we fall down,
kada padnemo,
we remember
sećamo se,
he knew already.
on je već to znao,
Right? It's not a big deal.
to nije nešto strašno,
Get back up.
ustani,
Keep going.
nastavi.
Just like a child learning to walk.
Kao što dete uči da hoda.
Every child learning to walk falls.
Svako dete koje uči da hoda pada.
The parents don't beat the child up because it fell.
I roditelji ne tuku deca zato što su deca pala.
They're excited it's learning to walk.
Oni su uzbuđeni jer oni počinju da hodaju.
Same thing with God.
Isto je sa Bogom.
It doesn't bother him that we fall.
Njega ne sekira to što smo i pali.
He says a righteous man falls 7 times.
Kaže pravednik padne 7 puta.
Jesus said, I tell you not 7, but 70 times 7.
Isus je rekao ne 7, nego 7 puta 70.
Right? The falling isn't a problem.
Padanje nije problem.
The problem is if you don't get back up.
Problem je ako ne ustaneš.
So, don't beat yourself up.
Nemojte sebe da beat up.
Yeah, don't.
Mučite, recimo.
Da, nemojte sebe da mučite.
Right. Get back up.
Ustanite.
Take another step.
Uzmiš sljedeći korak.
And as you do so, you'll be stronger for the next step.
I kako ustaneš, bit ćeš jači za sljedeći korak.
And that is the process of the Christian walk.
I to je proces hrišćanskog života.
Sjajno. Ovo je mjesto možda gdje bi trebalo da stavimo tačku. Naravno, ja imam još mnogo pitanja, a verujem i vi, ali pošto nas čekaju obaveze, tu ćemo svesti ovaj intervju.
We have many questions, but because we have things that are
i zaokružiti ga. Naravno, ne verujem da je ovo posljednji put, će Mark Sandoval biti naš gost.
This is not the last time Mark Sandoval is our guest.
Naprotiv, ovo je za mene jedan uvod u mnogo dublje proučavanje.
This is just introduction for a deeper study.
I promišljanje o toj pobedi hrišćanskog hodu.
And the victory of the Christian walk.
Yeah.
Ostaje mi da vam zahvalim u ime Radio Svitanja. Da ti zahvalim.
I would like to thank you in the name of Radio Svitanja.
Što si odvojio vreme.
For dedicating a time.
I preneo ovu divnu poruku našim slušalcima.
And pass this message to our viewers.
Amen.